New Vince McMahon allegations. The latest on Sasha Banks and Naomi. And what the Street Profits think of a possible breakup. All this and more on this brand new episode of Shot of Brew. What's up, party people? It's your bro, Yellow Boy, back here in the building after a little bit of a hiatus for the holidays. You know, maybe it was a trip to the Hamptons, maybe it was just a trip to upstate, who knows, but I am back here for you, the people. You people. So, I'm here to bring you a bunch of new news for the week. This is Shot of Brew, where we give you a shot of news in the world of wrestling, professional wrestling. Just a couple of stories that you may or may not have heard during the week. But before we break into that shot, let me just let you know first to make sure that you're liking, sharing, and subscribing. Make sure you're jotting down and putting some comments in that comment section. Also follow us on all social media platforms. But without further ado, let's break into that news. So, first off, this week, the Wall Street Journal had reported new findings from the investigation into Vince McMahon's sexual conduct. The report, which was published on July the 8th, alleged that Vince McMahon paid over $12 million to 4 women in the last 16 years. All women were former employees of WWE. Now, for those who are keeping with the story, we already know about the first alleged victim, which was a paralegal that worked with Vince. You remember the story from a few weeks ago that Wall Street Journal had published that said that Vince had passed the lady to John Laurinaitis like a toy. You remember that she received $3 million of personal money, and her salary was going to increase. Her salary did increase from the time that she was hired to after the alleged relationship was going on with her, from $100,000 to $200,000. So we know about that victim, but there's been 3 more that have came up through this Wall Street Journal report. So these new allegations of McMahon giving hush money stem back all the way to 2006. And these had kind of brought their way up to 2018. Now, one of the alleged women was a former wrestler, and she was paid $7.5 million, you guys, after she alleged that McMahon coerced her into giving him oral sex. And then what ended up happening is that they declined to renew her contract after she resisted subsequent sexual advances. So that was one of the ladies. And please, you guys in the comments, do not speculate who these women are. We're not going to look into that. If the information brings itself up, then let it bring itself up there. We're not going to speculate who these women are. But another woman who worked with WWE as a contractor had alleged to receive $1 million after she received unsolicited nude photos from Vince McMahon. And then there was the last woman who was a manager. Now, it is to note that they didn't say if she was like a on-screen wrestling manager or if she was in the managerial services of WWE. We don't know. So nonetheless, a female manager received about $1 million as well, and it didn't go into full disclosure about all the details on that. Now, WWE was asked for comments, but they did not have any comments at this time. Now, it's also to note that this has possibly affected WWE stock, as they are a publicly traded entity on the stock exchange. Now, on Friday, July the 8th, their shares did go down about 1%. Now, they're currently at $64.21 a share. It's also to note that in a Fightful.com report, after Vince McMahon's appearance on SmackDown, after the first Wall Street Journal report was made that started all of this, you guys remember that Vince McMahon popped up on the show just to pop a rating, made an announcement about it and everything, only to give information that we already knew, and then left. Well, it was said that after he left, he got back to Gorilla, which is right behind the curtains when you come off the ramp, that he was overheard saying, F him. So he had that kind of mentality after the first time. Now, to note, he did not show up on television on Friday on SmackDown after this last allegation, this last report. So we hope that he learned his lesson, but who's to say what's going to happen to Vince McMahon? At this point, with these allegations coming out, you would think that there's a great possibility that Vince McMahon will no longer be in WWE, but it was thought that before when he did the steroid trials way back when. But with the world being different now and these allegations coming up and possible more to come, not a report, just saying since 4 of them have popped up, there may be more to come. This may be the point where Vince McMahon steps down, but we shall see as this story continues to unravel. Now, sticking with Vince McMahon and his exploits, there was a Netflix docuseries that was supposed to come out this year possibly, that they were working on. Unfortunately, in the midst of all these allegations, that will no longer be happening. So in a report this week from Denise Salcedo, or a tweet rather from Denise Salcedo, her sources had reported that, quote unquote, the documentary has been pulled and is off the programming spreadsheet at Netflix. Another source at Netflix confirmed that it is no longer being listed on their spreadsheet. And then a third source told Denise Salcedo that sugar honey iced tea is out of here. So Salcedo further reported that a final source indicated that the project was already deep in post-production and that several talent interviews had been done months ago and that millions were spent. Salcedo was not able to confirm or deny the story after speaking with a producer on the project. So who's to say that it may not be picked up? But right now, currently, the news is that Netflix done with it, with the docuseries for Vince McMahon. Now, right after Denise Salcedo's report and tweets, Fightful.com jumped on it and added that the multi-part docuseries was first announced during the third quarter 2020 WWE financial call, and a premiere date was never announced. However, it was heavily suggested that it was going to premiere sometime in 2022. So more news on that as it comes. Sticking with a very, very WWE heavy shot of Brew today, Sasha Banks and Naomi news. Now, on Thursday, July 7th, PW Insider reported that both ladies were removed from WWE's internal roster. Fightful.com sources reported that the pair had disappeared from other internal rosters as far back as weeks ago. Now, Fightful also furthered that nobody from WWE's digital end had prompted to remove the former tag champs from the official website's roster, but there was, however, an instance where the digital team removed Sasha Banks related sign from the crowd in the WWE photo gallery. If you remember, there was a kid in the back that had a sign that had Sasha Banks crew or Banks crew or something like that, and in the photo gallery and everything, and on the replays on YouTube, it was digitally white. It was just a blank sign. So if you guys remember, this all began way back May 16th when the two allegedly, Sasha Banks and Naomi that is, allegedly walked out on their role on Monday Night Raw. So in another Fightful.com report, it stated that WWE Creative is operating on the assumption that Naomi and Sasha Banks are not returning whatsoever. However, there's no contingency plans in place if they do ever come together with any kind of agreement. It is to also note that this past week, I believe, followers of Naomi's Instagram page would have seen a post in her stories that a lot of people are inclining to say that she was taking a dig or a shot at WWE. Again, interpretation is up to you. Could be a shot at WWE, could be a shot at somebody in particular, but it was there, and because it's a story, it vanished, and there's no trace of it except for certain screenshots, as you may see right above me here. Now, other than that, Sasha Banks and Naomi have been keeping a relatively quiet, laid back kind of profile on their social media. So again, you guys, I don't know whether or not they are released completely. All speculations on Sasha Banks say that she's been released, but there's been no public mention of that. There's been no media mention of that. So we don't want to speculate. However, as wrestling fans, we probably will speculate whether or not we want to see Sasha Banks in AEW, let's say, or her and Naomi show up in AEW. But again, as we've been doing, more news to come as we find out. All right, so again, sticking with tag teams, WWE tag teams, moving right along to the Street Profits. So there's, especially in the recent weeks here, we've had a lot of rumors about the Street Profits having a possible split. Now, throughout their tenure, you guys, the spotlight for the Street Profits has been vehemently on Montez Ford, as he's constantly being pinned as the future WWE World Champion. They always talk about his feats of athleticism and such, and not really giving Angelo Dawkins his due. So Dawkins was recently on After the Bell with Corey Graves, and this information transcribed by WrestlingInc.com. On the show, Dawkins said, quote, "I'd be lying if I said I ain't hear all the talk on the internet," unquote. He furthered that, quote, "like, especially about me and stuff like that. Like, obviously, I see it all the time with Tez." Speaking of Montez Ford, Tez is second world like. That dude's a freak of nature. That's my brother. I know he's good. I know he's talented. He's destined to become world champion. But then, on the other hand, I saw people talking about me like I'm some scrub or whatever, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, hold up. Like, oh, they must not know about me. Okay, cool. And it kind of like, that took me back to when I first started, in a way. So, end quote. It's interesting to see what happened, but on the other side of things, Montez Ford was specifically asked about a possible break during the Money in the Bank weekend, and he quoted saying, quote, "If the draft happens and they, we're forced to go our separate ways, we're definitely going to keep that support there. For further, keep bringing it 100%. I know as a kid, speaking for myself, I've always had dreams of being WWE World Champion." And again, that comes from WrestlingInc.com. So this is kind of similar to the New Day, when murmurs were going around about Big E breaking off as a single star and becoming, a world champion, and turning on Woods and Kingston. But the group rallied together and remained a unit, rather than that usual trope of turning on each other. Now, with both tag partners, it's going to be interesting to see if the Street Profits will be allowed to hold their bond together like New Day, or if Dawkins will be the Marty Jannetty to Ford's Shawn Michaels. Only time will tell. We'll see as the storylines progress. All right, you guys, and final news. We got some NXT news, sticking with our WWE theme. So, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's daughter, Simone Johnson, who goes by Ava Raine, cut her first in-ring promo on Saturday, July the 9th. Now, Raine signed with WWE officially in February 2020. And on July 9th, Reign presented to the Orlando crowd as a heel as she talked down about Cora Jade, as reported by WrestlingInc.com. Now, Reign also revealed a nickname that she will use going forward. This nickname allegedly is a nod to a recent horror film, since Johnson is a big horror movie fan. Reign referred to herself as the final girl during her promo. Now, this is the 20-year-old's first time revealing her character to a live crowd and cutting a promo, which is and could be a big indicator that she may be on TV coming soon, because when they're doing those tours and such, those circuits, as far as the live shows for NXT or any wrestling promotion for that matter, when they're doing these circuits, they're trying to see what's good for TV, what will make good for TV. So I know previously Johnson had said she didn't want any kind of correlation with her and her father. She wants to make it out on her own, so good for her. And her having her first promo in ring is a good sign that she's cutting her own pathway for the business. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for today with this shot of brew, shot of news. And there may be an edit here, because I haven't been doing, you guys, what I said that I would be doing moving forward, and that is taking a shot each time. So let's do that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys for coming through and joining me for another episode of Shot of Brew. Remember, you guys, to like, share, and follow. If you like the content, please comment below that you like the content. Follow us on social media. Follow the channel on Instagram at bros_brews_and_botches. Follow me on Twitter at Badass Yellow Boy, and that's BADAZZ_YELLABOI. Follow Over Here Boy on all social media platforms, including TikTok and Twitch at Over Here Boy. And follow Hogzwars. If you know, you know. Follow him there, because it's darn good sausage. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Please follow us, and somewhere around here, check out some of the videos that pop up on the screen here. But little vodka for you. Until next time, you guys, we love you. And as Over Here Boy says, cheers, YOUINS.